Second example. I'll read it to you, so if you can't see it. You have just come onto the work site to do a night shift. You were unable to sleep during the day because your new baby was crying and vomiting all day. Lovely, been there, done that. You feel awful and you can't think straight. You know in your heart, oh, you can't focus, right? You've been given a very complex task to do, and if you make a mistake, you could hurt yourself and others. Your supervisor is not sympathetic. Now, please forgive me, all the supervisors in the room, I know now in 2012, you are sympathetic. You're good man and woman managers, aren't you, supervisors? You've been on leadership courses, haven't you, supervisors? And you know that personal problems cause issues in the workplace. You know all this, so forgive me. Another example, your supervisor is not sympathetic, old-fashioned dinosaur, and he will hold it against you if you don't do the task tonight. What should you do? A, say, I'm sorry, I want to do this, but I'm not going to because I might hurt myself and others. That's A. B, just go ahead because it's not worth upsetting anyone. Don't upset everyone, including the boss. C, ask someone to come with you to help look after you, buddy system. D, explain your situation and ask to go to sick bay to get 2 hours sleep and then go back on the job. The very fact that you are discussing this, even if there's a difference, you hope there's a difference of opinion. Because if there's a difference of opinion, you've got to pull up all your safety knowledge, all your training, all your wisdom, all your common sense. You've got to have a good discussion. That in itself is half of the exercise. You've already done half of the work. You're refreshing, whether you know it or not, you're refreshing all your good safety knowledge. So that's the best way to do this. Lectures don't really work with this behavioral stuff. You want people to drag up from their memory and everything they know about safety. Because do you agree you can't answer this without knowing what it is that's causing you to weigh up the decision? You're having to make a decision. Okay? So this is good stuff. Now, say these two examples come from what they call a safety risk tolerance test. It's a little test to see how people perceive risk. Okay? And of the 15 examples, there's 15 of these. Say you do 15 like this. What do you think you would find after doing 15 scenarios like this? If you speak up, can you just be brave enough to shout out a bit, because it's a big room? Once you do 15 case studies like this, what do you think you find?
Different people have different attitudes and appreciation of risk. Right,
different people have different views. And after the discussion you have on the tables, what do you expect to happen to that difference? You expect this to happen. There's one best answer. There might be other softer, nearly right answers, but there's always one right one. What else do you think you'll find after you do 15 of these, 16 of these, 20 of these? You get fed up. What's your name again, sir? No, you don't get fed up. It becomes exciting. Here's another one. What can we find out about why this guy didn't do what he knew he was supposed to do? I've already told you the answer in my introduction. When you do 15, 20, 400 of these, what do you find? The same things come up over and over again. If my manager does not supply me the right PPE, is that the cause of an accident? It could be a contributing factor, but what causes the accident? Me choosing to go ahead without the right PPE. How hard is that? I need these gloves. We can't get any till next week. Just do the best you can. Now forgive me, no one in this room would ever say that. Someone would stop and say, look, what's the problem? What's causing that? Let's stop and have a time out and see another way of doing this safely. But in the olden days, remember, no, we haven't got one. Just make do. Oh, okay, right. Does it matter that I've used 2 domestic incidents? In this 15, the rest of them are all work-related things about going up a ladder and all sorts of things. But does it matter that I've used domestic examples? We're human beings, yeah? The same things get us outside work as inside work. Going back to the drinking example, how could we have solved all that hassle, all that problem, all that having to be brave, all of that having to fight with the guy with the keys? How could we have solved that before it even started?
All get a cab.
Say?
All get a cab.
All get a cab, but they said no. Don't let him drink. Well, he's going to anyway.
Order the taxi in the first place.
Order the taxis in the first place. Do not rely on human fallibility. Isn't that what our procedures and everything are about? We're trying to engineer out as much human fallibility as possible. But the point we're making is, you can engineer out as much as you like. There comes a point where you have to depend on the human being to make the decision. So we're trying to engineer out. Manual handling agreed, all the tools we've got. Okay? So planning. If we had arranged the taxis beforehand, we wouldn't even have been in that situation. Okay? Now the guy should have stuck to the procedure. He should have done what was right. Agreed, but he didn't. Human beings. So how do we plan to stop this happening? Good. Right, this one. This table here, what did you have? A. So you're not going to do the job? You're relatively young guys. We pay you a lot of money. Don't we? Yes. And you're saying you're not going to do the work I've asked you to do. Oh, come on. You're a little bit tired. We're all tired. Okay. Your domestic situation's nothing to do with me. Unsympathetic supervisor. Agreed? So say, no, I'm not going to do it. I might hurt. I'm not going to work because I might hurt myself and others. Oh. As a supervisor, any supervisor, how would you respond to that? Just like I've done. Sorry, sit down, tell me your story. That's how you would respond, yes? Oh, shame. That's dreadful. I'll tell you what. You go home. Okay? Now, I have to be careful. I'm not mocking. I'm just trying to get some humor into this. All right? Okay, I want to do this. Oh, hell. Is this guy going to be upset with you? Probably. In this room, would any supervisor be upset with a man who's brave enough to say, hey, listen, I don't think I can cope. Time out. Are you going to be upset with a guy? Excuse me, can we be more convincing so everyone knows? Supervisors, are you going to be upset with someone who says, I cannot work because I can't concentrate?
No.
No. Sorry?
No,
it wouldn't happen. What do you mean? The guy wouldn't own up?
No. He'd come to work. He would come to work because his wife's lost her job because they got a new baby. He needs the money.
Right. Oh, okay. Now let's take this more slowly. As an individual, and the example was given, a man needs the money, therefore he will come to work. Now, should and would, this is a very difficult one, isn't it? Should he have come to work that morning knowing full well he could not concentrate? No, he should not have. Agreed. But human beings, his wife's lost her job, they need the money, so he's come to the workplace to do this. Now, when he falls off that scaffolding at 40 feet, is he going to earn money now? No. So from a human, now remember, I'm not lecturing you on this. We're all human, and I've been there too. What is causing us to be unsafe? I know I'm not in a fit. Now this might only happen, once a year, once every 2 years, when something, some situation, relationship, money problems, sick children, parents in hospital with cancer, all that kind of stuff that goes on in our lives, sooner or later that's going to get you, is it not? And it's got some of us already. Okay? So we're only dealing with the individual. We'll come to the supervisor in a minute. Okay? So we're dealing with the individual. It's not that you're tired. Someone mentioned fatigue. Remember earlier on someone said fatigue? It's not that you're tired. We're all tired. It's that you're so tired, you know in your heart you can't function properly. How often does that happen? Not a lot. But when it gets to the point where you think, I can't do this, bad news. Now in this case study, the guy came to the morning meeting at 7 o'clock and he was falling asleep in the morning meeting. He did not own up. Why don't we own up? Because I need the money and I want the money. Hell, am I going to hurt myself and not be able to work anyway or die? Okay, so that's something to think about. Why would I also not own up? Team pressure. Like what, for example? Letting people down. If you don't go out there, the team of 6 is -1, you're going to let people down, yeah? Okay. So this feeling of, I don't want to be a bad guy and let people down. When you fall off the scaffolding and crack your skull, have you let people down? Yeah. Do you see that balance, that very difficult mental switch that you have to make? Okay? I need the money, but if I go, I might injure myself and not get the money. If I don't go, these guys are going to think I'm a waster sitting on my backside at home. Or I think they will think. So the fear factor again. Fear of income, fear of upsetting people. But remember the case study said your supervisor will not be sympathetic. We'll come back to the supervisors in a minute. You think your boss is going to be upset with you. Well, if you can't do it and you've got so many domestic issues, maybe we should get someone else. That's a worry too, isn't it? And at the crux of this is fear of the job, yeah? If I don't do this, we've got a problem. Okay. Any way of getting the slides back up again? Just to... Okay. Thank you. Yeah. A is right. A is the best thing to do in these circumstances. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? But look what we're saying. We have to have the courage as a human being to say, look, I'm sorry, I can't cope. That's hard. Remember in the olden days, 20 years ago, leave all your domestic stuff at home before you come to the work site. We've now realized that's stupid. We can't separate out, can we? And if you're a supervisor, don't you want to know if the guy's under some kind of thing? Now, lack of concentration can be caused by fatigue, but normally it's caused by other things, okay? Something that's worrying you where your mind is always away. And you know yourself when you're on a job, particularly routine, boring jobs, yeah? What happens? Oof, mind goes off. Now later on I'll give you a technique to try and handle this, okay? So what does it mean for an individual? In the rare instance, once every 2 years, once every 5, when this thing creeps up on you, you've got to be awake enough to say, I can't do this, man, I'm going to hurt myself or others. And have the courage. See with the fear? So one is awareness you're in the state. The second one is the courage to say, I'm not going to do this. Now, what about the supervision? It said the supervisor was not sympathetic. That's an old case study, isn't it? Supervisors are sympathetic because if this guy's not in a state to work, he's going to fall off the ladder and kill himself. And then you'll care, yeah? You've got a guy on your site in Manchester, but he lives in Aberdeen. Valuable guy, comes down, works for a week, goes home at the weekend, okay? And he comes to you and he says, look, I'm sorry, my dog's just died. I want to go home. As a supervisor, what are you going to do? First step, supervisors, anyone? Just speak a bit louder, sir. I didn't hear that, sir. Listen, mate, it's only a dog. Pull yourself together. Can he or she pull himself together? They have no children. Mars bars in front of the fire. That's it. So, do you agree that's not going to work? So he goes out to pull himself together, comes back. Right, that's no good. What else could a supervisor do? Plan ahead. If this guy goes, it's going to cause endless hassle. That job's going to be held up for a day till you get another guy out from London to come up to take his place to do this job. Pain in the neck, yeah? Agreed? Supervisors, you've been there, things happen, oh hell, here we go. So you're not angry with him, you're not upset with him. You're upset with the fact that this thing's going to take a long time. If you show any upset, what's going to happen? Listen, I know about that dog, but hell, if you go home, we're going to have to get Bill up from Glasgow, blah, 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 blah. You're going to let everyone down, but if you want to go, go. What's going to happen? Fine, okay, boss, I'll go and do it. They will give in to the pressure from the supervision. Remember this? Yeah, it's okay with me. Go home if you have to, but you're putting everyone else under pressure. See what I'm saying? So next week, when another guy comes about his dead budgie, are you going to let him go? It's a balance, yeah? A balance. In 15 years, I've had 3 cases like this with dead dogs. No, I lie. 2 with a dead dog, 1 with a dog that was missing. The guy actually, when I tried to be funny and crack a joke, like everyone's calling him Douglas, although his name's John, he started crying and walked out of the workshop. Because his dog was lost, and his wife was phoning him every 10 minutes to tell what they were doing to try and find this dog. Now, you see what I'm saying? Let's check it out. We don't want the guy out there worrying about his dog and all this kind of thing. So, best answer, yeah? So from an individual point of view, we need the courage. From a supervisor point of view, watch out. 3 out of 10 accidents today have an element of this concentration thing. And we'll come back to that this afternoon, lots of reasons. Just go ahead because it's not worth upsetting everyone. Fear factor, don't upset people. Good idea? No. When you fall off and hit your head, you'll upset everyone. you might as well upset them now if you think they're going to be upset now. Should they be upset? No. Ask for someone to come with you while you do the task. Sounds good. Buddy system? What do you think? Anybody? Table right at the back. Can you speak loudly, please? What's your view on C? Anyone?
Good idea.
Good idea to send a buddy with you.
Yeah.
Okay. What might maybe happen in this case?
If you danger somebody else, it could be the buddy who gets injured.
Correct. Often, it's the helper who gets hurt. Honestly, out of 400 incidents, maybe 3 or 4 of them where the helper is the one that gets hurt, not the person who needs the buddy. Now be careful of this. We'll come back to it later. A buddy system is good. Standby man, all that kind of thing where you don't work alone, you have someone with you. Why are we using the buddy system here? We're using the buddy system to cover up for something which is not right. The best answer is for this guy to go away and get some sleep and come back later, not do the job. We're saying, hey, if we have a buddy, he'll be okay. Will he be okay? Have some sleep? What do you think? Possible. In rare instances, we maybe have to do this in rare instances where there's certain things. I know offshore, for example, an electrician, he might be woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go and do a job, and then he has to wake up at 7 o'clock to do his shift again. Oh, what's happening there? So as long as we're aware of it, after 2 hours of sleep, is he going to be okay? He might be worse. Now hold on, I only sleep 2 hours a night anyway, so I'm good. We don't know. So you may have to do this, but think very carefully about it. Take extra precautions about this one here. Are you sure the guy's fully awake? Don't let him stumble out of bed and go to the work site. Sit the guy down. What are you doing? Have a good talk about it. So that's not ideal. We may have to, in rare instances, very rare instances, do it. Agreed? Okay. So ladies and gents, thank you so much for being enthusiastic about these exercises. That was good.